Hare Krishna, welcome everyone to Bhagavad Gita class. We are kindly mute yourself. So we are coming to close to the end of the series after a very long journey. We are in the middle of 18th chapter. So let us recite the Mangalacharan prayers and then get started. So I will share my screen for Mangalacharan prayers. It is in the introduction of Bhagavad Gita. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Soyam Rupah Kada Mahyam Dadati Swapadantikam. Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yutah Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhan Vitamscha Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshthaya Bhutale Shrimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatharine He Krishna Karuna Sindho Deenabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shrivas Adi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Okay. So we will start or continue with chapter 18 of Bhagavad Gita. Like I was saying, we are getting closer to completing the Bhagavad Gita after a very long journey. So thank you for staying along this far and giving me an opportunity to read Bhagavad Gita all over again from the beginning. And we just started a new batch as well in January. That one is this one I call as Excel size. That one is a small size. So we already are completed sixth chapter in that batch in like 8 weeks. So our last portion of sixth chapter is remaining. So 5.5 chapters we completed, and we are moving at a fast pace. If you all want a overview of Bhagavad Gita again, please feel free to join. It is happening on Sunday evenings, Pacific time, our time, at 5 p.m. Pacific time. So you can translate it to wherever you are. India, it will translate into Monday early morning. Or you can always watch online on the video YouTube. And yeah, so let us pick up where we left off. And as usual, I like to make a link so that you understand what is being discussed in Bhagavad Gita. Many times we just focus on a given verse, its purport, and talk on that verse as a, in a isolated manner. So whereas Lord Krishna is obviously speaking Bhagavad Gita, it's like a conversation. It's like a whole teaching to Arjuna, and it is a whole sequence of points that Lord Krishna is making. And it is not a sequence, it's a sequence. It's not just random dots, disconnected dots. There is a whole sequence. Like I'm talking to you, it's not just random sentences. There's a whole sequence. So let us try to understand the sequence where we are at this moment. So last week we had covered 18.1 to 18.3. 17. We covered 17 verses. And in that, we divided it into two sections.
Hello, your pad is not visible, writing.
Oh, sorry.
You are the, yeah. Thank you.
Thank you for pointing out. Now?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Okay. Sorry.
Yes, Prabhu.
Thank you, Ram Prabhu, for pointing out. So 18.1 to 18.12, and then 18.13 to 18.17. So who can tell me, let us see, the essence of the first section, 18.1 to 18.12? Or let me put it this way, the two key verses in 18.12, 18 point this plus 18 point something. What are the two key verses that we focused on, which are the essence of that section? Let us see who is paying attention. Nahi? So the two key verses we focused on.
18.4.
Well, you're close. 18.5 and 18.6. Okay. So in 18.5 and 18.6, Lord Krishna is making 2 points. That in 18.5, let me write it this way. That you must do FSAC. Okay, these activities should be performed. I will translate it into do your activity. Okay, FSAC is a more granular version. Food, sacrifice, austerity, charity. Ahara or karma, yajna, dan, tapa, or tapa and dan. So they must be done. So do your activity. That is 18.5. And 18.6, what is it telling? Do it without attachment to fruits. Point number 1. And point number 2, do it as a matter of duty. Okay. So these are the 3 points. We can say point number 1, point number 2 and 3. So these are the 3 points being made in the first section, this first section, 18.1 and 18.1 to 12. In essence, that is the crux, or that is the essence of that section. Are we clear? Then let us see what is the essence of, who can tell me what is the essence of this section? (18.13 to 17).
Three divisions of
Three
18.14.
divisions.
We are not the only
successful
doer.
action.
Indra Mataji said it correctly. We are not the only doer. It doesn't mean we are not the doer. That is a misunderstanding. We are not the doer. No, nobody is saying you are not the doer. You are not the only doer. So it is not like I am not the doer, so I am not responsible for my actions. It is not a statement of irresponsibility in actions. Oh, I am not the doer. Whatever happened, it is someone else's fault. I am not the doer. That is a very, very common misinterpretation of misunderstanding from Bhagavad Gita, and people say, oh, Bhagavad Gita is teaching irresponsibility. So that is never the case. So we are not the only doer. So there is how we can say it. We can just say we are not the only doer, but the main point here is we have a significant responsibility in our action, and we can say consequences. Okay, so responsibility means for the consequences. Then you have to take responsibility for what the consequences are according to the law of nature. Okay, so action is your choice. Consequence, you have to take responsibility according to the laws. If you jump from a building, the law of gravity will break your bones. So you cannot blame law of gravity, but you have to take responsibility why you jumped from the building. Okay. So that is where we left off. Are we all clear? This is a, how many minutes? It is 6:18. We, let's say, started at 6:10. 8-minute summary of last class. Clear? Okay, maybe some of you can nod your head so I can know that, you know. This is how if I remember correctly, Shukadev Goswami was hearing, if I may be mixing up, was hearing Srimad Bhagavatam. Lord Shiva was telling Srimad Bhagavatam to Mother Parvati, and he said you should keep saying ha 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 or something like that. But this parrot, Shuka, was sitting. He was also hearing Bhagavatam, but Mother Parvati was tired from all the household work, so she kind of dozed off. But the parrot didn't want to stop Lord Shiva from continuing to speak Bhagavatam, so parrot kept saying ha 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 ha. So Lord Shiva kept speaking. I think that was the, if I'm not mixing it up. Anyway, so always it is nice to see the response that yes, something is going across. Okay. So what is the essence here? Do your activity, that is one point, with detachment, and we have a responsibility in the consequences or the results and even in the actions. So basically the details of this, how to do that, will be covered in the next 20, 25 verses, okay, approximately. So let us see that. So 18 point, where did we cover? 18.17. So 18.18 to, I think, 18.40. So that is 23 verses. We'll be covering the details of how to perform action properly. How to perform proper action. Okay, I will highlight this word, proper action. And what is the meaning of proper action? Proper action, which is that action which will take us towards spiritual progress, or we can say our spiritual end goal. Okay. So if you see here, this is known as karma siddhi. This word karma siddhi occurred in the second section, 18.13 to 17. Let me find it. 13 to 17. Yes, in 13 itself. So karma siddhi occurs in 18.13. So siddhaye sarva karmanam. siddhe sarva karmanam. So Lord Krishna says that, "O mighty armed Arjuna, according to Vedanta, there are 5 causes for the accomplishment of action. Now learn of these from me." So for the accomplishment of action or the successful accomplishment of action, karma siddhi, or Lord Krishna says, sankhye kritante proktani siddhaye sarva karmanam. So in the Sankhya, there are these 5 actions, panchaitani mahabaho karanani nibodhame sankhye kritante proktani siddhaye sarva karmanam. So in Sankhya, there are these 5 factors that are given for the siddhi of action. So now Lord Krishna is going into the detail of how to perform action in such a way that you can get siddhi, you can get your desired end goal of action, which is making spiritual progress or end goal or siddhi or liberation, moksha, whatever. And the answer is that perform action in mode of goodness. That is the first step. Action should always be performed in the mode of goodness. That is the first point. And the second point is to redirect it or dovetail it to Krishna or Bhagwan Krishna. So that is bhakti. Okay, so one must do actions which are in the mode of goodness. You cannot take a mode of illusion or mode of passion, rajas or tamas action and say that that is bhakti. That is not the case. So all bhakti and mode of action, externally it will look as mode of goodness for somebody who does not understand bhakti. Bhakti is just a state of consciousness. So you internally in your mind, in your heart, you redirect or dovetail it to Bhagwan. Externally, it will still look as an action of mode of goodness. So all this will be explained here, 18.18 to 18.40, 23 verses, how to perform proper action. The result will be this. Okay, so now we will, having understood this background, let us quickly go through. I'm not going to spend each verse lot of time on this. All the acharyas have also given very short commentaries on all these verses, not very long commentaries. Srila Prabhupada included. The obviously 3 main commentaries that I refer to are Srila Prabhupada, Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, and Sri Baldev Vidyabhushan. So they have all given very short commentaries. On the Sri Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, on 18.18, he has given a very long commentary, a 3-page commentary, which basically is explaining this, that real action is action in bhakti. Bhakti is full of action. It is not like going and sitting in a cave. Nobody does bhakti sitting in a cave. Read the entire Srimad Bhagavatam. It is full of bhaktas. Bhagavatam is just a compilation of stories of bhaktas. And none of them is sitting in a cave alone and doing bhakti. They are all doing various things in their life. Maharaj Ambarish, Bharat Maharaj, so many devotees are there. So how to do proper action? So Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur is saying bhakti is the action, but all of that completely resembles, or externally it looks like action in the mode of goodness. Internally in the heart there is bhakti. So that is what is being explained from 18.40 to 18.18 to 18.40. All right, now Lord Krishna will describe 4 things. Where is my cheat sheet? Yeah, here is my cheat sheet. So I have a little cheat sheet here. I'll show you here. So I use this cheat sheet to kind of, it's a nice, I will draw it here for you. But it's a nice sort of, you can arrange all the verses in a nice way so you can understand what each verse is trying to say. Okay. So let me explain a little bit before we go forward. So there are three motivations of action. Then there are three ingredients of action. Then there are two factors that influence its consequences. And then finally, how to measure, so to that influence its consequences or success, and how to measure success. Okay, and that is basically success defined. So success, end of the day, is sukha. Everybody is looking for happiness. So happiness is the success. So sukha defined. So all these things are there. And then we have mode of goodness, mode of passion, mode of ignorance. Okay. So there are three motivations of action. So let us look at 18.18. Lord Krishna will talk about these 6 items. There are 3 motivations of action and 3 ingredients of action. So I will go through this little quickly, but please just pay attention. The purpose of this section, again, don't get lost in all the technical details and all that, okay? As practicing devotees, as devotees who are trying to make progress like myself, the purpose is to understand that what is action in the mode of goodness, this one. Okay, so that is one thing. And yeah, so that's the main thing. So in this, when I draw it like this, you should focus on this column, mode of goodness. So we will talk about all these things like this. I will draw a chart. Okay, so I will draw a chart like this. You should focus on this portion. There is no point in focusing on this or this. Are you clear? So that is the purpose of this whole discussion, to distinguish. Of course, you should know this and know this. In Ishopanishad class, we have said you must know the other two as well. Why should you know the other two? Who can tell? All the Bhakti Shastri students should be able to tell. Why you should know this and this?
So that you know what is right.
Not to follow those things.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
This is your to-do list and this is your to-avoid list, isn't it? When you go to the doctor, then he says, take these medicines and avoid these things, whatever he may say. Don't take it with whatever, like recently the doctor gave me some antibiotic. He said, don't take it with milk. It counteracts or something. So something like that. So it is important to know what to do and what to avoid. Therefore, this is also important. But for us, we must focus most on this area. All right. Okay. So in 18.20, Lord Krishna is talking about 3 motivations of action. Jnanam, Gyeyam, Parigyata, Trividha Karma Chodana. So that is 3 motivations of karma. Jnanam. So that is, I will write it. What is this? Jnanam, Gyeyam, and Parigyata. Okay. So Jnana is knowledge. Gyeya is the object of knowledge, and parigyata is the knower, or who is the gyata of the knowledge. So all these three are needed for knowledge to be understood. Then there are three ingredients of action: karanam, karma, karta iti, karteti, that is called karta iti, karteti. Trividha karma sangraha. So three things. Karanam means the senses, or various indriyas, the 10 indriyas, the 11 indriyas we have, including the mind. So karanam, karma, and karta. So these are the three ingredients of action. You need the senses to perform the action. You need the act. The action itself is ingredient of action, the action being performed, and the person who is performing the action, or the person who is behind the cause, and we said we are one of the cause, that is karta. Okay, so that is what is being described here. Now later on I will build this out here. Two factors that influence the success of action is buddhi and dhriti. Dhriti means conviction or determination. I have to do it. There will be other reasons that will try to cause you to give it up or to deviate. So dhriti, or conviction or determination, is what keeps you on track. And then this one is sukha. So out of these, how many items are there? 6, 7, 8, 9 items are there. Out of the first 6, Lord Krishna will talk about 3 of them. Now, there's a very, Sri Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur has given a nice linkage. I will just draw it here. These 3 are linked like this. Jnanam is linked to the senses, karanam. Gyayam is linked to karma, and parigyata is linked to karta. So there is a linkage between these, but Lord Krishna will talk about jnana, karma, and karta. So he's taking one from each of the category. So jnana, karma, and karta. So I'm going to divide it like this. So jnana, so that will be jnana, karma, karta. And then there will be buddhi, dhriti, and sukha. And then I will draw a line like this. Okay. So we have a chart. And let me fill out the verses. So we already talked about 18. 18.18 is telling us these 6 items. So these 6 items are being told by 18.18, all these 6 items. Then 18.29 will tell about these items. These 2 items. And then 18.36 will tell about, will just be like an index of sukha. So let us try to fill this out. So we start with 18. So Lord Krishna will say 18.18 and 18.19. He will talk about that we will take these 3 only. Out of the 6, we will take 3. So the real description starts from 18.20, 18.21, 18.22, 23, 24, 25, 18.28. Then we have 29 over here, right? Over here we have 29, which is talking about where Lord Krishna will say, now I will tell you about 2 factors which cause the success of action, which is buddhi and dhriti. So that is 29. Then 30 Again, he will start talking about it in mode of goodness. 18.31, 32, 33, 34, 35. Then again in 18.36, he will say, now I will tell you how to understand what is real sukh. How do you know what is sukh? How do you know you were successful in your action? Is your action successful? If you have performed it in mode of goodness, you should get the sukh that you performed it for. Okay. So 36, so 18.37, 38, 39. Okay. So that is the chart that is there, and that is the chart that I have, same chart I have here also. So I just kind of copied that over here to show you all the verses. Okay. So you can either take a screenshot of this. I mean, obviously this will be on the video, but right now, if you want to follow along with the verses, you can follow along. We will go in sequence. We will go like this, 20 to 22, like this, we will keep going. So we will reach like that 18.39. Okay. So I'm going to leave it here for 10 seconds. You can capture it if you want. But it will be there on the YouTube video. You can look at it, capture it from there also later. Okay. So we will continue with 18.19. All right. So 18.19. Lord Krishna will say, I'm going to talk about Jnanam, Karma, and Karta. These three items or these three factors I will talk about. One of them is Jnanam, which is motivator for action. Okay. So when you have Jnana, then it motivates action. Let us say if you have a disease, doctor tells you you have disease, you have to take a surgery. So the knowledge is I have disease. That motivates action. Yes, please do my surgery. That is action, isn't it? Or if somebody tells you that, oh, there's very nice job opening, they are paying very nice salary, whatever, etc., then you go and apply. So the knowledge is there, which influences, which motivates. So that is why it is called motivator of action. So knowledge is there, which motivates action. So many people are looking for answers. I'm not happy so much. Why problems in my life? I have been such a good person. Why people are, like this, like that? Then somebody comes and gives the knowledge of Bhagavad Gita, saying Bhagavad Gita has all the answers. And then they say, oh, so the knowledge, let me read what it is. So you read, you come to the class, you do so many things to understand Bhagavad Gita. So that is the ingredient of action. And you go through the reading process, the listening process. Sometimes if you do Bhakti Shastri, you do homeworks, you do tests, all that is action. And then you have to use your intelligence. You have to be committed. Many people, find Bhakti Shastri very hard. Some people are very committed. No, I must do. And there are legitimate reasons. I'm not saying to kind of not do it. But, that is dhriti. Commitment is always needed. And intelligence is needed. And then one gets the result, which is sukha. So that is how all this is connected. So Lord Krishna will talk about these three topics in the next 20 to 28. All right. So 18.19, Lord Krishna will say that Jnanam karma cha karta cha. So Jnanam, karma, and karta cha tridhaiva guna bhedataha. So these three topics I'm going to talk about in the various gunas, in the various modes: goodness, passion, and ignorance. According to the three modes of material nature, there are three kinds of knowledge, action, and performer of action: Jnanam, karma, karta. And that I will tell you, Lord Krishna is saying, Prochyate gunasankhyane. Where is this? 1 second. Yeah. Yatha vach shrinu tanyapi. So now hear it from me. Okay, so 18.20, mode of goodness, jnana. So jnana in the mode of goodness. That knowledge, so I'm going to go very fast. Please pay attention. I hope you all have your Bhagavad Gita with you. You can follow along in that. So I will leave this chart, I think, or let me leave it for now. I will make some important points. 18.20. So knowledge in the mode of goodness, jnana. That knowledge by which one undivided spiritual nature is seen in all living entities. Though they are divided into innumerable forms, you should understand to be in the mode of goodness. So basically knowing that all living entities are part and parcel of Bhagavan. Panditaha samadarshinaha. What is that verse? 15.18. Vidya vinaya sampanne brahmane gavi hastini shuni chaiva swapakecha panditah samadarshinaha. So that is known as Pandita, and he is in the mode of goodness. So he sees everybody equally. Gavi, Hastini, cow, elephant, dog, and dog eater. All such people, even one who is below the mode of ignorance, dog eater is considered to be below mode of ignorance. All them panditaha samadarshinaha. So that is looking at everybody as equal. In other words, also a uttama adhikari, a topmost person who always looks at everybody as equal. 21. That knowledge by which one sees that in every different body, there is a different type of living entity. You should understand to be in the mode of passion. So you look at everybody differently. This is duality. So we can write here in small font. This is samadarshinaha. Samadarshana. This is duality, dvanda moha. He is my friend, he is my enemy. He loves me not. Okay, all those things. I like him, I don't like him. So looking at different people with different, he is in my country, he is white, he is black. He is from my country, he is from enemy country. Just because, sometimes, people in India, oh, you are from Pakistan, oh, you are an enemy. Just, by the name, I have seen so many people who are such nice people, but we just say, oh, just by their, whatever their religious practices or the country or whatever, oh, you are my enemy. So that is, mode of passion. And that knowledge by which one is attached to one kind of work, so 22, one kind of work as the all in all, without knowledge of the truth, and which is very meager, is said to be in the mode of darkness. So this is severe attachment to one thing. So demons are in this category. Their jnana, they may have jnana, but it is in the mode of ignorance. Like for Ravana, it was just, oh, I want to have Mother Sita. Or Hiranyakashipu was like, I just want to rule over everyone, the whole universe. I want to become God. So just one-pointed. Anybody who is not on my agenda, my one-pointed agenda is my enemy, period. So that is mode of darkness or tamas, jnana in tamas. Severe attachment to one thing. 23 is now karma in the mode of goodness. That action which is regulated and which is performed without attachment, without love or hatred, and without desire for fruitive results is said to be in the mode of goodness. We just talked about it, karma. That is the whole point. So doing your duty without attachment to fruit. We can say that much. Okay, and which is regulated. So not overdoing. Overdoing or over endeavoring. Trying too hard, too much, that becomes, then it spills into the mode of passion, because then you are attached. Why do you try too hard? You try a little bit. Some theory tells you by doing this much, you should get the result. Okay. let us say by working for 8 hours, you should get promotion in the right time, you should get your salary and all those things. Then somebody can be driven, no, I want faster promotion, I want double salary, I want this. Then they will go and over endeavor, they will try to do more than what is being prescribed to get more, and sometimes they don't even get it in spite of that, because there is a higher cause as well. I am the cause, but I am not the only cause. So it doesn't happen, and it may manifest in many ways. Somebody may backbite us, or so many times it happens, you are working very hard. The boss who knows how much hard you are working, he changes the job and you get a new boss. Now you have to start from zero. This happened in my company. One of my very close friends, he was in the good books of the topmost executive vice president. And, just below the CEO, the person who works for the CEO of Intel, this friend of mine was direct in contact with that person, would all that. In one particular group, 3 levels of management completely left. They just changed their jobs. And this person who was working so hard, and everybody knew how hard he was working, and he was going to himself become vice president very soon. Now he was left without any air cover because they all left. And then he also finally left. He said, I'm not going to start again working so hard for 4 or 5 years to prove myself to a new chain of management. So he also left. So like this, you may work very hard, but things may not work out in the way you want. So that is over, trying to achieve a lot, but it sometimes doesn't produce the result. So not overdoing, over endeavoring. That is, do the requisite, and yes, you will not get the highest results. That is sure, but you will get medium, whatever results that you started off with, that I will get this much result. The rest of the time you focus on your Krishna consciousness. That is the main purpose. This work you are doing just to maintain your livelihood. So 18.23. 18.24. Action performed with great effort by seeking to gratify his desires. Same thing, that is, I want to become vice president, so I will work 16 hours. I will let everybody know how hard I am working and all that stuff. And enacted from a sense of false ego. False ego means what? What is the Sanskrit for false ego?
ahankar.
Ahankar.
Mithya ahankar.
Ahankar. So one that is, you will see the word there, sa ahankarena va punaha. So sa ahankar, with ahankar. So kama upasana and sa ahankar. So all this thing with is called in the mode of passion. So with ahankar and kam upasana means what is written here by Prabhupada, great effort for sense gratification, or I will just say great effort for fulfilling desires. You put a lot of effort for fulfilling your desires with ahankar. Ahankar means I am the doer. You send a lot of emails at 2 a.m. in the night. Oh, this project report is ready. All this good things happened. I did it. My team did it. In that email, you will find a lot of I and mine. I, mine, my team, I, this, that, I, all that. It will be full of that self-promotion. And of course, it's not false. You did the work. You're not lying, but you did all this extra work so that you can become some great person and you can get a title, Upadhi. 25. Now, ignorance. That action performed in illusion, in disregard of scriptural injunction, without concern for future bondage or for violence or distress caused to others, is said to be in the mode of ignorance. So basically, in this case, it is some kind of destructive action. Okay. So you will see the word here, himsa. anubandham, kshayam, himsam, anapeksha cha paurusham. These are all the words that have been used. So himsam, so basically action which is completely so we can say violent action, not useful to self or others. Mode of passion at least was useful to you in the short term. Violence, you can call it as useful to you as momentary, very short term, like you get the pleasure of violence. But even that is like very, very, it's not even a temporary pleasure, it is a momentary pleasure at all, if at all. So it is completely, you're not doing it for yourself either. The goal is to simply harm others. So violent action, not useful to our own self either. Mode of passion, at least it is useful for you. You will get something out of it. Okay. Then karta, the doer. So in mode of goodness, one who performs his duty without association with the modes of material nature, mukta sango. Okay, without false ego. Na aham. So na aham means not me, I didn't do it, like that. With great determination and enthusiasm. So dhriti, utsah. So we will see here, no ahankar, and with utsah, with enthusiasm, and dhriti means determination. That kind of worker, karta, is in the mode of without wavering in success or failure, is said to be in the worker in the mode of goodness. Okay, so I cannot write all these words here, but without losing determination in success or failure. So utsah is very important. Utsah and determination, dhriti. So there is this famous verse, right? Karmanyeva adhikaraste ma phaleshu kadachana, 2.47. So where Lord Krishna is telling in the second chapter, you must do your duty, but you do not have a right on the results. So it is the same concept. But many people ask this question: if I do not have a right on the result, why should I do my duty? Why work if I'm not going to get the salary? That's the point. Okay. So yes, that is the argument in the mode of passion. People work for something. If I'm told I'm not going to get promoted to vice president, why would this person work 16 hours a day? He will not, isn't it? But that is thinking. That thinking is the thinking in the mode of passion. The thinking or the attitude in the mode of goodness is that still, regardless of that fact, you must do your duty with enthusiasm and determination. It does not mean you must work 16 hours, by the way, but still some people say, why even work 8 hours? Or why not do some kacha pacha work, kacha pakka, half-baked, just for namesake, lip service? Why not do that? Where it is written in Bhagavad Gita that you must do it with determination. So here it is directly said that in the mode of goodness, one does it with utsaha, which means enthusiasm, and dhriti, which means determination, in the mode of goodness. And just in the previous verse, it was said, not previous verse, but in this previous sort of this one, 23, without attachment to fruit. So you are not doing it for fruit. A mode of goodness person is not doing it for fruit, but still he is doing it with full commitment, dedication, determination, enthusiasm, all the things that bosses like. Bosses like employees to be this. You must be enthusiastic, all these things. But one is doing it not to please the boss, but because that person is in the mode of goodness. That karta is in the mode of goodness. But he does not overdo. That, please, there is a fine line between being enthusiastic and determined versus overdoing. Okay, please keep that in mind. Okay. In the mode of Passion, the worker who is attached to the fruits of work, attached to the work and the fruits of work, desiring to enjoy those fruits, who is greedy, envious, impure, moved by joy and sorrow. All these points are mentioned. Harsha, shoka, anvitaha. So harsha, shoka, happiness and sadness in the, he's affected by these things, is said to be in the mode of passion. So we will just write it as, let's see what are the most important things here. Attached to the fruit, we can just write it here. Attached to fruit. Okay. Greedy, envious. So what this means is that he will want to attain those results, that fruit, whatever fruit he's attached to by hook or by crook. Okay. Envious and greedy leads to jealousy, leads to pulling the other person down. So all that, all those things, this kind of karta is ready to do in order to get the result. 28. Now this is karta in the mode of ignorance. So basically he will be, his thing is don't do anything. See, both these people are doing something. This person is doing it with commitment, enthusiasm. He is doing it in a envious, greedy, over passionate mode. This fellow is not doing anything. So that is the difference. Okay. So he is doing it properly. He is doing it improperly. He is not doing it at all. So let's see 28. The worker, 28, yeah. The worker who is always engaged in work against injunction of the scripture, who is materialistic, obstinate, cheating, expert in insulting others, who is lazy, morose, procrastinating, is said to be a worker in the mode of ignorance. So I will pick the words here, lazy and procrastinating. Always coming up with excuses of why he didn't do anything. There are such people also, you might have seen. You give them some work and you give them time. After the time has elapsed, all you get is a bunch of reasons why it is not done. Okay. So that is cheating and lazy and working against the injunctions of scriptures. Okay. So we can write here cheating and overly materialistic or morose. Okay. Now 29th verse. Now we come to this verse where Lord Krishna, so first he talked about 18.18, he talked about all these 6 items, which are the motivations of action and the action ingredients of action. So these are the 6 items, among which in 18.19 he said, I'm going to talk about these 3 only, not all 6, just half of them, 1 from each category. So that was 18.19, and then we talked about this whole thing. Then 29, he will say there are 2 factors which influence the success in the action. And then he will talk about these factors in each of the 3 modes. So 29 is again an index verse, or like a pointer. It's providing a pointer. O winner of wealth. Now please listen as I tell you in detail of the different kinds of understanding and determination according to the 3 modes of material nature. So Srila Prabhupada is translating buddhi as understanding. So buddhi is understanding or intelligence. Using intelligence, we understand what is right, what is wrong. So you will see here, in the first case itself, the main ingredient or the main property of mode of goodness person with buddhi is to know what is right, what is wrong. So your intelligence tells you this is right, this is wrong. Or you can say he has a good understanding, a good discrimination of what is right, what is wrong. So I'm just trying to tell you that the word understanding or intelligence in this context can both be applied to buddhi. All right. Both can be applied to buddhi. All right. So let us go to, we already read 29. Okay, 29 is done. Now, intelligence in the mode of goodness. So, O son of Pritha, that understanding, or I will say that intelligence, by which one knows what ought to be done and what ought not to be done. Very important words are used in Sanskrit here. Pravrittim cha, nivrittim cha. Pravritti and nivritti. Pravritti means one which takes you forward. Nivritti means which pulls you back. So to do means things that you do will take you forward. If you do the opposite things, they are nivritti, then you will fall back. So pravrittim cha, nivrittim cha, karya akarye bhaya bhaye. So you must do karya and akarya that are corresponding to pravritti and nivritti. Karya akarya. Things to be done, things to be avoided. Akarya. So, O Pritha, that understanding by which one knows what ought to be done, what not ought to be done, what is to be feared, what is not to be feared, bhaya bhaye. What is binding, bandha moksham chayaveti. What is binding and what is liberating. Sapartha satviki is in the mode of satvika or goodness. So basically one who knows the discrimination, who knows the good versus bad, okay, fears the bad, adopts the good, does the good, avoids the bad, and all those things. So we can say that the summary of this is who knows perfectly, who knows the distinction perfectly. Okay, knows the distinction perfectly between good and bad actions. Okay, so that person is intelligent. Okay, now person in the mode of passion, he doesn't know, he's confused, and by the way, from 16th chapter, so how do we know what is good and bad? Who tells us what is good and bad action? See, you must understand this is the whole integrated Bhagavad Gita. So, okay, I can understand you are going through it first time. I also would not have been able to answer it when I went through first time. I have read Bhagavad Gita several times. So how you know what is correct action and
Scriptures, Prabhuji.
Guru.
scriptures? Yes,
Guru.
very nice. Huh?
No scripture.
Yes, where it is told, which chapter, which verse? That's the next level question, next harder question. It's like, first you answer the simple question. If you get it right, then you get asked the harder question. So do you know, remember Mataji, which verse?
16th chapter, last verse, 16.24.
Very nice. Last two verses of 16th chapter. What does it say? That Shastram pramanam te karya akarya tasmat shastra pramanam te karya akarya vyavasthitau. So knowing karya and akarya, exact same words were used just previously, that karya akarya bhaya bhaye. So to know what is action, good and bad, you must know that. So knows the distinction nicely is coming from the Shastra. So you must understand the Shastra, which will tell you very clearly what is good versus bad. Now, 18.31 is in the mode of passion. The intelligence in mode of passion, he has not read Shastra, so he has no idea. So he is doing it according to his own imagination. So basically, we can call this person confused. Confused or mixed up. He's mixed up. He's just doing something. And he's not going by Shastra, he's going by personal sense gratification. Or he's going and looking at somebody else. I want to get promoted to vice president. He became vice president because he did all these things. He worked 16 hours. He went and backbited. He did this, he did that. He did some buttering up, whatever else XYZ he did. So you try to imitate that person. You try to replicate that steps. It is not coming from Shastra. It is a confused. It is mixed up. You are just taking your knowledge from some hodgepodge sources. So it results in some khichdi, some mixed up situation. And you may be successful for short time. No, I'm not saying like my friend, he was unsuccessful. He worked so hard for so many years, still he was unsuccessful because everybody left the company. But maybe he would have, if they would have not left, he would have definitely been successful, at least in his goal. So there would be temporary happiness. So at most, there will be temporary happiness. At worst, there will be no happiness. So that is the confused state. That is what is 18.31. O son of Pritha, that understanding which cannot distinguish between religion and irreligion, between action that should be done and action that should not be done, is in the mode of passion. So he doesn't know, he's confused. Okay, I hope that is clear. And finally, the mode of ignorance means somehow he got it exactly opposite. It was supposed to be mode of goodness. Then by chance, he's doing all the opposite things. Okay, like I mentioned, mode of passion person may sometimes do the right thing, sometimes do the wrong thing. This person is always doing just the wrong thing. So somehow is always or since this is understanding, we will just say it like this. Somehow his understanding is, or his intelligence is opposite. Not because he has read the Shastra and decided I want to do the exact opposite. Not because of that. He has not read the Shastra. Now there are some very big demons who have read the Shastra, like Ravana. He knew Shastra. Hiranyakashipu also knew Shastra, and they chose to do the opposite. So they are a next level of ignorance. So we are not talking about that level. Our level ignorance means they have not read Shastra, but still they are doing opposite. So 18.32, that understanding which considers irreligion to be religion and religion to be irreligion. You can see here, opposite. Okay, A is B and B is A. Under the spell of illusion and darkness, and strives always in the wrong direction. Always going in the opposite direction. O Partha is in the mode of ignorance. So such a person is in the mode of ignorance. All right. Okay, then dhriti. So dhriti is conviction or determination, same thing or similar. Conviction, I'm convinced that I must follow this path, or I'm determined that I must follow the path, whatever, determination, conviction, similar terms. O son of Pritha, that determination which is unbreakable, which is sustained with steadfastness by yoga practice, and which thus controls the activities of the mind, life, and senses, is determination in the mode of goodness. So I will write it like, so I think I just came up with this idea at runtime just to kind of write it summary in each of the boxes. I think it's turning out like a nice chart. So here it is controlled, the mind is controlled. Oops. No. Mind is controlled towards long term, we can say, towards long term success or happiness, which we will define in the next verse or next section, sukha. But long term success. So by that determination, which is unbreakable, you are determined to get the result. So you may have temporary setbacks, but you keep working. And your controlling the mind is very important as part of that, mind, life, and senses. So that is, mind is controlled and the senses are revolving around the mind. So if your mind is controlled, senses will be controlled. Okay. Then 34, in mode of passion or rajas. But that determination by which one holds fast to the fruitive results in religion, economic development, and sense gratification is of the mode of passion, O Arjuna. So here the mind is controlled or somewhat controlled, we can say. Somewhat controlled. And we can say for short-term results. So here it was long-term results or long-term success. This one is controlled. There is some control needed, but for short-term. If you don't get the short-term results, you give up. Okay. So that is in the mode of passion. And mode of ignorance. Mode of ignorance means not controlled at all. Okay, no fruits. At least here you're getting short-term fruits. There you get no fruits. And your mind is not controlled. You let it keep going wherever it wants, like dreaming. Completely like, you're sitting in the chair and just dreaming for hours and hours. Called daydreaming. No action, only daydreaming. So let us see 18.35. And that determination which cannot go beyond dreaming. There itself you have the word swapna is there. Yaya swapnam bhayam shokam vishadam madamevacha. So swapna, all the time you're just seeing swapna, dreaming, which cannot go beyond dreaming, fearfulness, lamentation, moroseness, illusion. Such unintelligent determination, O son of Pritha, is in the mode of darkness. So just dreaming, only dreaming. Okay. No action and no results. In mode of passion, at least there were some results, short-term results. And there was some action. Here there's no action, only dreaming and no results. All right. Okay. Now, Lord Krishna, so that was 18.35. Okay. Up 18.36, Lord Krishna will say, now I will tell you the sukha, what you get out of doing all these things properly, or especially if you did in mode of goodness and you avoided the mode of passion and ignorance, then you will get sukha in the mode of goodness. What is that sukha? So the answer will be, in a very simple way, this answer will be that it is long lasting. That is the main aspect, long lasting happiness. This will be short lived. And here there will be no happiness at all. Okay. Only, what can you say, failure. So long lasting happiness, short lived happiness, no happiness. That will be the sort of the theme you will see. So let us read the 3 verses. All right. So 18.36, Lord Krishna is saying this one, 18.36. O best of the Bharatas, now please hear from me about the 3 kinds of happiness by which the conditioned soul enjoys and by which he sometimes comes to the end of all distress, sometimes. So that is the temporary. So let us see sukha in the mode of goodness. That which in the beginning may be just like poison, but at the end is just like nectar, and which awakens one to self-realization, is said to be happiness in the mode of goodness. So in the beginning, it is just like poison. So which means it requires hard effort, it requires patience. That happiness doesn't come immediately, but it comes and it is long lasting. Okay. And what is the most long lasting? The most long lasting is Atma Buddhi Prasadajam. So Atma Buddhi Prasad, which means the knowledge that leads to, or that happiness that is Atma Buddhi Prasadajam. That is when the self-satisfaction happens, or when the one is self-realized. So here we will write it as long-term happiness. long-term happiness. And keep in mind, it may not occur immediately. It may take some patience. It may result after some time. So here we can say may not be instant or immediate. Okay, that is long-term happiness. Then short-term happiness, that happiness which is derived from contact of the senses with their objects and which appears like nectar at first. So here it is nectar at first, but poison at the end is said to be of the nature of passion. So nectar at first, that means the result is instantaneous or immediate, but it doesn't last long. So it is short-lived. So we can say short-term happiness. Okay, short-term happiness or temporary happiness. Where it is not long-lasting. I mean, a lot can be said about this nectar at first, but poison in the end, or poison at first, nectar in the end. So there's a lot of points, a lot of hard work is needed, a lot of determination is needed, no swaying in times of failure, staying steady in failure and keep moving according to the Shastra. So having complete faith that our acharyas have told, whatever they have told is correct, keep moving, you will attain success. The formula is completely correct. There is no better formula. It's not like, oh, maybe the formula is wrong. Maybe I'm on the wrong path. No doubts. It is coming from Shastra, from Bhagavan. Just follow it. There may be temporary setbacks. Those setbacks are not because Shastra is wrong, because we did not apply it properly. And also because of our past karma, we did not apply it properly sometime in the past. So maybe I'm now paying the price for it. With all this understanding, keep moving forward, and like that, attain success. So in the beginning, it may be unsuccessful or poison, you can say, but in the end, it will be like nectar or amritam. So that is the word that is used, Visha and Amrita. 30, now we are on 39. And that happiness, which is blind to self-realization, which is delusion from beginning to end, which arises from sleep, laziness, and illusion, is said to be in the nature of ignorance. So basically the answer is here is, like I said, no happiness at all. Neither short nor long term. Correct? Neither short term nor long term. So that is in the mode of ignorance. Okay, so we covered 18.20 to 18.18 to 18.39. So please go over this. It is nice to remember some of these points and live our life according to these points. And the most important thing is to apply this in our bhakti. So all this can be applied in our bhakti as well. Okay, so in our bhakti, we may sometimes not get the result very soon, very quickly. We are saying you must do your japa, you must read Srimad Bhagavatam. Oh, why I have to read Srimad Bhagavatam? There is latest and greatest, I don't know, Time magazine with latest scandals about, I don't know. I get some of these news items, news clippets, whether Prince Harry and what's his wife's name? Who that, some movie actor. What's her name? Harry and I forget anyway.
Meghan.
Meghan, yes. Whether they will attend the coronation of King Charles. How is that important to anyone in this world? It may be important to King Charles. It may be important to them. That is a breaking news. breaking news item, whether Meghan and Harry will attend the coronation. Oh my God, I'm like, okay, if Argentina win the World Cup, maybe that is, breaking news or something like that. If bombs fall on Ukraine, that is breaking news. But these two people attending, I mean, I'm just saying that, our consciousness is so much invested in all this useless things that just struck me that how can this be breaking news? Some train derailed somewhere few days back, some 50, 60 people lost their life. Okay, I can understand. That is breaking news. Mass shooting happens, unfortunately, that is news. So all these things are, nice, palatable to the people, but reading Srimad Bhagavatam is not palatable. So boring. Why we have to read Bhagavatam? So like that, when we are saying, you might feel that it is poison in the beginning. Oh, all this, why I can't read about Meghan and Harry? That is so interesting. So that is nectar in the beginning, poison in the end means no use. It's just some piece of useless information. If you read Bhagavatam, it may sound boring in the beginning, but it will be so beneficial to your life, to your soul in the long term that you have no idea. And not only that, by reading the Bhagavatam, you may come across some verses which will be so impactful to you, like you will be blown away. This has happened so many times to me, so many times, that, oh my God, this is the verse I have been looking for. Not like I knew it before, but like, oh my God, Bhagavatam is saying this directly. Wow, this is so cool. And, I would write down the number of the verse and I would try to remember the verse and things like that. That this is directly in the Bhagavatam verse or something like that. You have no idea what you will get. So keep persisting, keep doing that. And it may sound like boring in the beginning, but the end result is so beneficial. You will remember it at the time of your death. You will not remember whether Meghan or Harry attended the coronation. You will not remember that and it is not important at the time of your death or my death. What is important for me and my death is the verses of Srimad Bhagavatam, and that will give long-lasting nectar. Okay, so like that we have to think. So that is the application of this application in our bhakti. This is how we can apply it in our bhakti. Okay, just a sense I am giving. Okay, we will move forward. Actually, I have to end little early today, so I'm thinking whether we should let's see. Yeah, we can cover maybe till 45. So we have 40. So 18.40, what it is saying is, so by the way, are there any questions? Let's see. Usually there are, sometimes it's a hit or miss. Okay, no questions, I will keep going. So 18.40. So there is no being existing either here or among the demigods in the higher planetary systems which is freed from these three modes of material nature. So no being in the material world. In the spiritual world, obviously everybody is free. That is the criteria, by the way, to go to spiritual world is to become free from the modes. That's the fundamental criteria. But in the material world, and the fundamental criteria to remain in material world is to have the influence of these modes on you. Because the moment the influence of the modes becomes zero, that defines moksha, that defines liberation. Okay, so no being in the material world is free from these. Now this does not apply to nitya siddhas. Please, just a small point. Those who have been sent by the Lord to the material world for our benefit, the acharyas, the saints, and so on. So this does not apply to nitya siddhas. That's like saying in the jail, Everybody in the jail is a prisoner. Is that a true statement? Who is not a prisoner in the jail?
Jailer.
Jailer, policeman, whatever, isn't it? So just because they may be inside the boundary of the jail, there are few of them, but majority is prisoners. So when we say no being, it means it is referring to the prisoners. There are the Nitya Siddhas. We must never confuse, or Bhagavan even. Oh, Bhagavan come to material world. Obviously, he comes to material world. So suddenly now he is also not free from the modes. That is not true. That is the Mayavadi argument. They will say nobody in the material world is free from these modes. So when Bhagavan Krishna came and he was running behind the girls, see, he is bound by the modes. Or when Bhagavan Ram came, then he was crying like an ordinary man when his wife was kidnapped. So he was just ordinary man. He could not have defeated Ravana on his own. He could not have even found out where is Ravana if Hanuman would not have helped. He needed the help of monkeys. God needs help of monkeys. So all these arguments are made. Okay, so they mistake Bhagavan with being in the material modes. So, or the saints, the acharyas, the Nitya Siddhas. So we must understand this no being is not need to be understood properly. Okay. So no being.
Swarga Loka is, sorry, Swarga Loka is also a material world?
Yes, Mataji, आप तो अब 18th chapter में हैं. ये तो हमने 9th chapter में we had covered.
Of course.
Yes, yes, of course. Swarga is also 100% material world. We have said so many times that when you do punya karma, mode of goodness activity, but not bhakti. So when we discussed this whole thing, mode of goodness activity, it doesn't have to mean bhakti. I said actually that you can apply this to bhakti, which means that you can apply it or you can use it in bhakti. But there could be just simple mode of goodness activities, just like doing charity, helping other people, and nothing to do with Krishna or Ram or any bhakti of Bhagavan. But so many people may be doing just a lot of good charitable activities. They will go to Swarga. So that is, and then once there, that's like working hard and you are collecting money. Then you go to Disneyland or vacation. You enjoy after your kshine punye martya lokam vishanti. When your credit card or your bank balance is back to zero, then you come back here and again you have to work hard. So that is the cycle of Swarga Loka, Martya Loka, Swarga Loka, Martya Loka, Swarga Loka, Martya Loka. And by chance, if you commit sinful activities, then you go down to Narkaloka as well. So yes, definitely it is part of material world. Okay. So 18.40 is saying that nobody is free from the. Now 18.41 to 18.45. What it is saying is that there are the 4 varnas. There are 4. So let me just introduce this section. It is already 7:30. I want to do it properly. This is very important section. And I will cover it in detail next time. But what is being said is that there are this whole table chart that we discussed. And then one can say this is a misconception that Brahmana is in mode of goodness, Shudra is in mode of ignorance, and Kshatriya and Vaishya is in the mode of passion, somewhat mode of passion plus mode of goodness mixed, and mode of passion plus mode of ignorance mixed. This is a misconception. I will put it here. And that misconception is being broken or is being described here. That You can be a Shudra or you can be a Brahmana. You can be a Brahmana and be in mode of ignorance. You can be a Shudra and be in the mode of goodness, or any of those. And the point is that there are certain svabhava of each of these varnas have a particular svabhava, which means a nature of work. And I have explained this earlier. Like in a company, there are software engineers, there is sales and marketing, there is finance team, there is CEO, there is all these people are there. Then there are architects and designers. You need all of these for a full society or a full company to function. Similarly, you need Shudra, Vaishya, Kshatriya, Brahmana for a society to function properly. You cannot have a company without software engineers. What software you will develop, huh? If it's a software company? Sales and marketing people will sell what? They have nothing to sell if the software engineers will not be there. Or if the managers are not there, software engineers will have a good time. They will not do any productive work. They will not come out with the product on schedule. So you need managers. So like that, you need all these varnas for the society to function properly. But they can all make spiritual progress. You do not have to be a Brahmana to make spiritual progress. You do not have to rise up this ladder to make spiritual progress. This is just saying that there are various svabhava, various inherent nature, or not inherent, I will say, we can say conditioning, conditioned nature of someone, regardless of your conditioning. See, this is the main point. Please pay very careful attention. We will go over the details in the next class. Regardless of your conditioning, or we can say svabhava, regardless of your svabhava. Okay, this is point number one. Try to make spiritual progress. Okay. And everybody in all the four varnas can make spiritual progress. There is no such thing that you cannot. Second point is, do not try to change your svabhava. Why? You will waste time and energy in changing your svabhava. The same time and energy that can be used to make spiritual progress. Spiritual progress can be made in any of the four varnas. Why you have to waste your time in trying to change your varna? It's like you are trying to win the race. Not a good example. Why you have to change your lane? If you will change your lane, you may crash into someone or you may waste time. Try to go in the straight in your lane as nicely and as quickly as possible. So the main point is, don't try to change your svabhava. In your svabhava, make spiritual progress. This you will see in 18.46, right after the 45, 1845 plus 1. So you will see 18.46, that by worship of the Lord, who is the source of all beings and who is all pervading, a man can attain perfection through performing his own work in his own varna, not by changing his varna. Okay? All right. So that is the, and then Lord will say, what are some of the, that we will cover next time. What are some of the characteristics of these 1, 2, 3, 4 varnas, so that you can identify. And these are not like 4 solid buckets. It's a gray band, okay? So you have to identify your svabhava. And basically it means, what do you like to do? Always, what you are always attracted to. So in bhakti, this is another important point to learn. So that's why, yeah, I could not have done it in 10 minutes. I would have done severe injustice. So try to find your most attractive or like I will put it in a different way. Try to find the aspects of bhakti that are most attractive to you. Not attractive as in like, please remember, not attractive doesn't mean lucrative. No, not lucrative. So I'm probably attractive is not the right word. That are the most, I would say, natural or maybe
appealing to you.
appealing, fine, appealing. Basically something that you are attracted to. Always you feel like I want to do this. So bhakti is full of variety. Okay, full of variety. Please remember that we started off a series called doing Nava Vidha Bhakti. We didn't complete it, and I'm not sure when we will complete it. But we covered the two most important aspects of Nava Vidha. It is shortened as Navadha Bhakti. So in the Bhagavatam, Prahlad Maharaj is giving 9 Navadha, Nava Vidha, 9 vidhis of Bhakti. Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, Padasevanam, Archanam, Vandanam, Dasyam, Sakhyam, and Atmanivedanam. So many varieties are there. Now, these are not steps. These are just 9 different swim lanes. Now, it doesn't mean these 9 are Shudra. There is no mapping between varnas and this. Don't confuse varnas with this, okay? So, point is there are 9 different ways of doing bhakti. You must be liking one of the 9 or something else. These 9 are also like a gray band. Find something that you like, that you are naturally attracted to. Okay, and do that with full enthusiasm, with all the aspects of mode of goodness, which includes determination. What are they? Just read it. With a controlled mind, knowing the proper distinction, which means like, okay, which book to read? Okay, Bhagavatam, you should read Bhagavatam. You shouldn't read something else. With utsah, with dhriti, without attachment to fruit. Oh, if I do bhakti, then I will, get good health. That's not the right attitude. All those things. Not overdoing, over-endeavoring. So all these things can be applied to your vidhi of bhakti. So please do those things. Don't try to be somebody else. Oh, this person sings such nice kirtan. Oh my God, I have to become a kirtan singer now. So now you go and, even though you don't like it. Now, if you like it, yes, learn it for sure. If you enjoy it, oh my God, this is like the best thing I'm doing in my life. Learning how to sing good kirtan for the Lord. Then do it. But not like, oh, then I will be invited to the stage. I will be the, such a hero. Not for those reasons, because he's such a hero. He gets so much prestige. So I want to become like that. Not for that reason. So don't try to be someone you are not. In your natural state, try to pick a dimension of bhakti that appeals to you, that you are attracted to, and do it with full force. Okay, so that is the essence of this, or the meaning of this whole section. So Lord Krishna will explain the 4 varnas and tell that, find out, the purpose of that is to find out I'm in this varna or that varna, and then execute your bhakti by in that particular lane. Okay. All right. So that was the essence of that section. We will go into the details next time. Okay. Any last minute questions? Yeah, I got your message, Subhash Prabhu. I hope your health is doing better now. Thank you. Okay, we will end here. Thank you so much. Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai. Srila Prabhupada. 1 second. Just wait. Kindly mute yourself, everybody. So tomorrow we are starting the new book in Bhakti Shastri, or on the Saturday series. This is the last and final call for anyone who wants to join Bhakti Shastri at the starting of this new book. Is a good time to, if you are interested, to join. No pressure. Actually, you must be very careful before you join. It is a serious commitment, but we go through 4 books. There are homeworks, tests, and you are required to chant 16 rounds of Hare Krishna Mahamantra and follow the 4 regulative principles every day. No meat eating, no intoxication, no gambling, and no illicit connections outside of marriage. So if you are interested, let me know, and you can start attending the classes from tomorrow. I will do a small interview or a one-on-one to understand if you want to do, why you want to do, and all. But that opportunity is available. If you want to take it up. Otherwise, no pressure. You can do your bhakti without doing Bhakti Shastri. Bhakti Shastri is not is not a mandatory condition for becoming a bhakta. Those who are interested in svadhyaya, interested in studying Shastra, this may be a nice opportunity. But if your interest is in Kirtan, if your interest is in one of the other limbs of Navadha Bhakti, by all means. Okay, so just that it is there. I just wanted to let everyone know. And
everyone is the class is open to everyone.
but the class is open to everyone. You can still attend the class. Saturday classes there is theory classes, then homework and all is given separately. So if you just want to sit and attend the class, you can do it anyway. You can get all the benefit, and the classes will also be posted on YouTube, everything. Just that for those who are registered as Bhakti Shastri, they have to do homework, they have to give tests, they have to do all those things.
And the book has all practical things.
And
for
this
living.
book that we are starting, Upadeshamritam, I will explain tomorrow if you come to the class at 6 p.m. Pacific time, Saturdays. It will be online class on Zoom. This book is the most, it's just a practical book. It's called Upadeshamritam. Nectar. Amrit means nectar of instruction. Upadesha. This is the cover of the book. It's such a thin book. See, compared to Bhagavad Gita, it is like this, just to show you the perspective. This is Bhagavad Gita, and it's not even, you can see how thin it is. Just 11 verses are there, but those 11 verses are probably the most important 11 verses you should remember. Try to memorize them, try to live them. Full of practical instructions, full packed, jam-packed in bhakti. So yeah, all these things, that was just a sales pitch for Bhagwan, not for any product. The price, as we say, for this product is 0. It is only your time, commitment, and interest.
For attending the class, no registration is required, no?
Yes, Mataji, no registration required. Emails keep going out, email or WhatsApp,
Okay.
whatever. And you can
That
just attend like this.
Okay.
But
Thank you.
not to be missed. The classes for Nectar of Instruction are just nectar. It is Amrit. Anything else? Basna. ठीक है. Okay, thank you so much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna,
Mataji.
Prabhuji. Thank you very
Hare
much. Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Krishna Prabhuji.
Thank you, Mataji.
हरे कृष्णा प्रभु जी.
हरे कृष्णा. आप क्या ट्रेन में हैं क्या?
नहीं, ट्रेन में नहीं हूँ, मैं घर पे हूँ, बट आई हैड लॉट ऑफ डेंटल प्रॉब्लम.
हाँ, मैं देख रहा हूँ, आप लिखे थे.
2-3 weeks.
I hope you are doing better.
Yeah, actually there is one root canal is already done 2 days back. It's very painful.
Root canal is very painful. I agree.
So a lot of antibiotics and all that stuff was going on. Then they have to put a cap and all that. But he called me on
मेरे भी एक
Tuesday.
दांत में यहाँ दर्द हो रहा है. I am hoping it is not root canal. Very painful.
Yeah, and then one more is required to be done. That will be next week sometime. So this is
Chaliye.
a lot of.
That is a less at least it is not something big. So
Yeah, but I know, but it becomes very painful. And sometimes the pain becomes unbearable.
yes.
So the pain medicine, they upset your system and all that stuff. And how are you doing?
I'm
Prabhuji?
doing fine. I'm doing good.
Okay, very nice to hear. And I just posted one question in the chat. There is a friend of mine. He lives close by. And, he lost his job, I think, 2-3 years back because of the COVID and all that stuff. Then he had to undergo a knee surgery. And all that is creating a lot of emotional drain for him. I mean, is there any suggestion which I can give him? Or
Just be a supportive, good friend, Prabhuji. No point in introducing Krishna in this because Krishna is
I'm
not a personal servant of anybody to solve their problems.
yeah.
So one should take up Krishna Bhakti with unmotivated intention, not to solve
Yes.
their personal problems. Otherwise, we would be giving the wrong advice.
Yeah.
That you do Krishna Bhakti, you will get a good job. Your knee problem will go away. This will happen. That will happen. Then we are selling Bhakti cheap. We should
Yeah.
not do that. So Bhakti is very, very high standard. There is no expectation in Bhakti. But that
No,
should
I
not be
think-
told when there is distress, because then it could be taken as if by doing Bhakti, it is like an antidote for my material problems. That misconception should never be given to anyone.
No, I am only thinking on one because he is he doesn't move out of the house and all those things. So I just tell him okay, come to the mandir and just have some prasadam.
Yeah, and you can say talk to people and you will feel better. And
Yeah, that is
yeah.
it. That's what I'm doing. But he is not, so far he has not accepted my invite. That is the problem.
Sometimes
But
people
even I was also not going to the temple for last almost 2 weeks roughly. So
sometimes people need time.
yeah, that's right.
Ramakant Prabhu, you are in a train.
Hello.
Mute hai. No, I was talking to Ramakant Prabhu. He looks
Okay,
like I'm getting reminded of the train. It has been many years since I sat in a train. So that's a good. I'm remembering all the memories of my train journey. Okay. I have to go, so I will leave. So thank you very much. Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Nice to see you in person. Subhash.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Okay, I'm ending the call.
Yeah.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.